Always talking when the mics are hot. Welcome to Bass University Live. Great to have you with us. We are talking fishing today. So much controversy going on in the sport right now. We're talking fishing. Are you confused about what line to choose? I get this question all the time. Which line are you selecting for, drop shot finesse stuff, for certain forward-facing techniques, when you're frogging, when you're flipping? We're going to be diving into the lines with a great friend of Bass University, longtime Bass University instructor, Fred Roumbanis, one of the greatest anglers on the planet, certainly one of the greatest frog fishermen on the planet, and just a lot of fun. So we're going to be diving in with him about what type of lines he uses for all the different situations. And I know we love to throw Cortland line too here at Bass U. I know he does. So we're going to be talking about braid, when you throw braid, when you choose not to throw braid, and when you are throwing it, what are the diameters that you're going to be throwing in different situations. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We might talk a little controversy too, because that's what we do. But glad to have you guys with us. There's so much going on right now. We come back from a big holiday. I hope everybody at home had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I got to spend a little time with my family, and I screwed up the turkey, Rich.
Did you?
I did.
What? How'd that happen?
I undercooked it.
Oh, Pete.
Oh,
I
man.
was hearing how good of a cook you were on the ride home from Delaware, and you're messing up the turkey.
I guilty.
Oh,
Guilty.
man.
All right,
I screwed it up.
How did you bounce back from it?
Stuffing.
The stuffing and mashed potatoes saved the day. But no, I just it's just so hard to get that temperature right, especially when you got 5 dishes that you're all trying to get heated up at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And if the turkey has a little bit of frozen nature to it, it's which I didn't think mine did. I thought I was completely thawed. Anyway, I screwed mine up. I need to go fry it.
Yeah, you just need to get a frozen turkey and just fry that sucker.
I fry that sucker. That's what I need to do. I might try that next year. Of course, I'll probably burn the house down.
That's going to catch on fire.
Yeah.
You're supposed to. I don't know. I don't know how to cook, but I'm just telling you what I've been seeing online. People say you get a
Justin
frozen
doesn't know how to
turkey
cook.
and you put it in the.
Yeah,
The fryer.
you put it in there, and the flames go 30
Dan-
feet into the air.
Dan
Yeah.
Allen said he microwaved it.
That's
Smart.
I hate to admit it. I had to microwave to put the finishing touches on some of the carvings, but
Hey.
it's still good. It was great.
Works out.
My aunt was in at our Thanksgiving. She moved home from Florida, and it was great to have her with us. And Jake was it's just nice to spend time around the family. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was nice. Every year, my dad and I we fish in the morning on Thanksgiving, so we fished.
Love that
fish-
tradition.
Yeah. It used to be go duck hunting, but now that the dog's a little older and we don't hunt her anymore, it's go fishing. So we fished out on the bay, had some fun, caught some fish, caught a couple nice ones.
So like every other day.
Well, yeah, but and then Thanksgiving was good.
Good.
Typical Thanksgiving deal. Hang around with the family, eat more food than you need to, and just enjoy it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know, Josh, you got a lot of family,
Too.
and you have to do double duty.
Yeah, double duty. I mean, I did 3 Thanksgivings technically.
Did
this
you
year.
cook 3
I
Thanksgiving?
did not cook
Okay.
at all. This
Oh
is the
my
first year I
goodness.
didn't make anything. I felt really guilty showing up. I have nothing. Give me all your food.
I like that.
Right.
That's an interesting way to go. But Justin, how about you?
Just watched some football and hanged around, man.
How about them Eagles?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
I was there.
Yeah.
Cheered on the boys.
That's right. You were
You
there.
were
You went to the
there.
game. How wet were you?
I wasn't wet at all, actually. My my buddy's dad got us into like one of these red zone suites, and
Ooh.
then we were like kind of covered. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I was living the life on Sunday.
I'm glad to hear that, because we know that if you had to prepare your own rain gear, you likely would have got wet.
You're absolutely right,
Did you
brother.
wear a sweatshirt?
I wore my Carhartt stuff, and I thought about wearing my new bibs I got from Tackle Direct. Shout out Tackle Direct, but I didn't because I knew I was going to be
Nice.
covered. You know, got a couple drops on me, but
That's awesome.
can't complain about that.
That is. You did get some new Tackle Direct bibs. That's good.
That's right. Yep.
Good for you.
Black Friday sale. Got during the Black Friday sale.
That's awesome. And speaking of Black Friday sales, Nick Mayberry said, "Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and didn't empty your bank account on fishing sales like he did." He bought some new jigs, new jig rod, along with new square bills, a few shirts, and new line. He went
Nice.
crazy.
Good for you, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I splurged a little bit too. Got a new reel. Living, you know.
Did you?
Yeah. Yep. Got to be prepared for the Yodas next year.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, sir.
trying to get ahead of the game. Pete.
Call
What do you say?
MLF December 1st.
Yep.
A lot of deals going on, including at Bash University. So many new subscribers, and welcome. We've had so many people sign up for our holiday deal, our Black Friday deal. We have our Cyber Week deal going on right now. So get signed up if you haven't yet. It's a great time to do it. Give it as a gift. You know, there's a lot of places to get your fishing training. And, you know, Bash University, we work hard to deliver some of the premium trainers in the industry, giving you the stuff that's truly going to help you become a better angler. So get over there and get yourself signed up. And tickets are on sale. We have our holiday deal still going on. They're 10% off. It's still our early bird special going on. That makes an amazing gift. Give to somebody that you know that might want to attend and learn. We have amazing classes going on. You can check them out at thebashuniversity.com. We're going to be at 4 locations this year. So yeah, a lot of great stuff. I had a really cool thing. Jake is, you know, he's diving into the youth fishing, and one of his buddies is wanting to dive in. His father called me and said, "Look, I have no idea what to get this young man," and he gave me a budget. And I went to Tackle Direct. I filled out a cart.
Nice.
Of you know, it's interesting, you know, because you gotta look at what things you're going to select for somebody that's just starting to build their tackle collection. You know, for somebody like me that's been collecting for 40 years,
you're basically giving them like a starter pack.
It's a starter pack, you know, of just some real basics, you know, stuff to be able to throw, you know, some Texas rigs, some jigs, some crankbaits, some you know, some spinner baits, just some, you know, just good, consistent tools, DT6s, made sure that, you know, just a great all around crankbait that can catch them in so many different situations. So I spent a lot of time putting that kit together for him. What a cool experience that was. So I hope you guys didn't spend all your money. But
speaking of spending all your money, today is Giving Tuesday, and I just wanted to put out there that the Ike Foundation is hosting a fundraiser to stock a lake. So if you make a donation, you can nominate a lake that you think deserves to be stocked, and we'll do everything on the back end to vet it and try and get that lake stocked. So
awesome.
Our initiative is to stock a lake, so consider donating.
Consider it IkeFoundation.org.
Yep.
Get your donations in there, and we've got a great show. Like I said, you're just tuning in. Fred Roumbanis is going to be here in just a couple minutes. We're going to be talking about fishing lines. What, you know, when to throw which type of line, which pound test for really every application. We're going to dive into things deep with a good friend of Bash University, longtime Bash University instructor, Fred Roumbanis. If you're watching over on Facebook, like and share the feed. We've got a really cool prize. I see some Boom Boom Swimbaits sitting out there, Josh. What are we giving away today?
Today we are giving away for our grand prize some Boom Boom Swimbaits and some Cortland line.
Excellent.
Yes.
Sweet.
And then for our like and share, it's a pack of Cortland line and a Bash U hat.
Nice.
Excellent. So pay attention. We're going to be asking you a question. I know a lot of you guys know the process now. We're going to be writing that question on the IM board, and whoever gets the correct answer will win the grand prize. So pay attention to what's going on here today. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Boom Boom Roumbanis.
Aquaview, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. Aquaview. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water, not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Cortland Line Master Braid, America's premium super braided fishing line. Manufactured in our Cortland, New York facility and constructed from the highest quality Spectra fibers available. Cortland Line Company, made in America since 1915.
I have to have the best eyewear.
My eyes are essential to doing my job.
It's the highest quality lens that I've ever used.
Top of the line performance in these glasses.
But they're priced for absolutely everyone. The everyday angler can afford them.
As a touring professional pro, if I can depend on them, I know the weekend angler can as well. Hobie eyewear, built for the pros.
Price for everyone.
Welcome back to. I thought we had 30 seconds, Justin.
That was 30 seconds. Pete.
That was 30 seconds ago
30
that I got
ago.
that warning. Well, welcome back to Bass University Live, everybody. Glad you're with us. Great opportunity to talk about fishing. At my house this morning, I had snow on my boat cover. I know it's already happening. I see ice fishing starting to happen in a lot of different places around the country already. And I know down south you guys are still at it, man, throwing jerk baits, lipless, going deep with forward facing sonar, doing hover rig fishing and Demiki rig stuff. All that stuff is happening right now.
Let's just take a trip to Florida, in a couple weeks, maybe go punch some mats or something.
Come on, let's go.
I can't deal with this cold no more, man.
Don't we have a connection in Bass University down at Lake Okeechobee? I think we have a couple.
We got connections everywhere.
We do.
Yeah. We just got to get the clearance to roll. We're going.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's enough.
Jocelyn, we need a meetup down at Lake Okeechobee right now. But we're not fishing. We're in the studio right now. But our guest today is. He's out on the water, and he's been with us for a long time, really since the beginning. Freddie and I go way back, traveled together for a few years, fishing on the old FLW trail, and I'm really glad to have him with us today. We're going to be diving into fishing lines, guys. So get your questions together, whatever questions you might have about, the choices that you need to make for the variety of techniques that we have out there. We're going to be talking about that stuff really right now. Do we have Freddie in the waiting room? There he is. There he is.
Hey,
our
guys.
buddy Boom Boom out on the water. How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day. I actually came up to Oklahoma from Arkansas, and we're on Lake Tenkiller.
That's awesome. Rich, I think we need to start hosting this show from the water.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's start in the spring.
Yeah. Man, it's great to have you. Lake Tenkiller out there, man. The weather looks beautiful. It looks like you got a high pressure day going on out there. Looks like it might be a kind of a hard condition to deal with right now.
Yeah, it's funny because the reason we came here, we had our first really major cold front yesterday. And, it got into the 20s in Arkansas, 20s here in Oklahoma. And yet the sun was going to shine. So the smallmouth generally trigger. From when I lived here in Oklahoma, this was the place to go. And it did not disappoint. We got here at about 1:30 yesterday. And, we probably caught around 16, 17 pounds. A smallmouth, one close to 5 pounds. And so we stayed out here, and we're out here now. So it seems to be a little bit more of an afternoon bite. We've caught a couple. And then I'm with my buddy Ted, longtime friend. You guys heard me talk about it when I talk about swimbait fishing, growing up in California. Ted's one of my best friends I grew up with, and really kind of got me into swimbait fishing. So he's out here, and we're finesse fishing.
That's awesome.
Putting that Cortland line to work
a while ago.
Well, it's at the pre-call, because we always got to check the feed. Of course, Ted caught a fish, and it's very upsetting to us to have you guys fish, not only fishing but catching fish. But that was really cool. We got to see a fish catch before the show started.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping I get bit here. I'm kind of just sitting in the console of the boat so I can put the phone up. But dragging a little Senko around,
Yeah. Well, we're having you on today. We want to talk about the fishing line. It's a question that we get. I mean, like everybody that's learning how to fish, whether they're beginner, intermediate, or they're advanced, and maybe they're having trouble with a certain technique. They're trying to figure out which lines that they need to be throwing, and what diameter, when to be throwing braid, when fluorocarbon is the answer, and is monofilament still a factor? As I see setting hook over there.
No, just hung up on a rock for dragging it.
Well, what do you fishing?
With me. We're good.
Okay, that's awesome.
This is a great topic because, to be honest with you, there's so many different types of fishing line out there, and there's so many variables. Like if you're fishing the right bait but the wrong line, you're not getting bit. So there's reasons why we use different lines for different things. So I think this is a great topic.
I do too. Well, let's start at the beginning. I see you're using a spinning rod today. What are you fishing with right now, and what line are you using?
Well, I got the Cortland Master Braid. We're actually prototyping a few different braids. We're prototyping different colors. Sorry, that's the cool thing about Cortland is being with them. They're built here in the USA. We can try different things. So we've got one line that we're messing around with some pink color line. There's a pink one. This is on Ted's rod. I've got it like a bluish line. We're kind of in some algae, so it doesn't show up that well here, but it's a real nice, pretty blue. And then we've got another one here. That's like an aqua blue. And this is just a little Topwater, little secret Topwater bait, but we'll go ahead and hide that. No, it's a Wakasaki. If you guys ever seen it by depths, pretty cool little thing. Brings schooling fish to the surface.
Well, that's cool.
So hopefully we'll get on that bite too today. And so I'm really just using 8 pound with the Master Braid. 8 pound. I know that's another thing. Like, so the reason I'm using 8, we're in a pretty clear water lake. It's thin. I can cast a mile. The primary technique that I got going on is obviously Yamamoto Senko. Got it on a little Nico rig, and just being able to bomb at a mile. I got 12-pound leader on this, so it's not like I'm going 8-pound to a light line. I'm actually going heavy leader, but with the light line and you use the leader, 5-6 foot of leader is about all you need. It's like fly fishing. It's weight forward. It casts you even further. So when you get to a little tiny Ned rig or something like that too, it actually helps your casting. So having a little heavier leader than the diameter of your braided line. So it's all about distance with me, and then the braid, obviously the thinner it is, will cut through the water column quicker. And that's where I think, it's probably something we can dive into a little bit here in a little bit, is why we use different lines for different techniques.
So I know we've talked about this before. Like you love that 8-pound, and you were like, Pete, you got to try that 8-pound. You can't believe how strong that Cortland 8 is, and you're using it. Let's talk about it a little bit. I love that component, because I was thinking about that. The diameter on that is next to nothing, so that's going to allow you to fish a lot deeper.
Yeah, I mean, if you took it in comparison, like monofilament, you're talking 1-pound diameter. So I mean, you're it's like 1 to 2 pound diameter. Like if you really to break it down, but I mean, it's so thin that if you're fishing current situations, you want that line to get down there, and current will drag if you have any more diameter than that. So it's going to not give you a good contact. I want to get to the bottom sometimes, and it's important. And then of course, making these long casts, and it's so strong when you tie the right knot. A lot of guys like the FG knot. The FG knot's great. It takes me a long time to do it, so I do like an Alberto and just do a couple extra hit. At the very end, I just do it a couple extra times and wrap it around, and that locks it in real nice. But I could do it in like 28-30 seconds. So it's all about
that. I love that. Me too. That's exactly what I do. You know what else I've taken to is I use crazy glue on that knot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've done that as just an extra measure, because depending on the leader material that you're throwing, you don't know how everything's going to marry up. But man, you put just a little brush of crazy glue on that knot,
it locks it in.
Locks it in. I tie it in 30 seconds, and I never ever worry about that leader knot. It's a non-factor anymore.
Yep.
So that's, and the speed is key, because I seen a lot of guys, man, they tie long leaders, and they might put up with a little abrasion on their line because they don't want to take the time to retie a leader, and with that Alberto knot, man, you could tie it so fast. It's just a non-factor.
It really is. And the way we fish, I'm fishing the Major League Fishing again this year as well, but it's all fish count, so I can't waste time. And then if you rush a knot, I mean, I don't have to rush an Alberto. Like, it's just natural for me to do it that quick. But like an FG, if I have to rush that, dude, I'm gonna miss something, and it's just not gonna be right. It's just, you got to start all over, and then I start getting the tremors because I drank too many energy drinks or something like that, so that's that excitement you get from an energy drink turns into anxiety and frustration real quick.
Yeah,
anger
that's
management classes after fishing.
That's interesting. And knots are important to tie a good knot. Like, you can have the best knot that has ever been designed, but if you don't tie it well, it's a terrible knot. So right. You've got to be good at it. And when you're on energy drinks in the middle of in the heat of battle, I could see where you could mess up. What do we got on the IM board, Josh?
Howie Range with Snow. Fred, do you use different length leaders for different braid colors?
What's the length leaders? No, you know what I do? Honestly, the only reason I have different colors on the reels is for different techniques. So I know which one I'm grabbing, like a drop shot versus a little, like ball-headed swim bait or
that's cool.
Or something like that. I just like to have a different color because when I get dialed on that pattern, most of the time, what I'll do is I'll tie my leader. When I tie the Alberto knot, I'll tie the leader from the spool, and I'll reel it. And once the knot gets to my spool from the entire rod and me holding the leader, that's about the length I cut it at. It just seems to be perfect. Gives me a little bit of working, because you're not going to break the braid. I don't ever break the knot area. So I'm breaking the fluorocarbon leader. And so it gives me some working room too. So I figure as long as you have about 5 foot, you're good. But I just, I like to get down to the spool, and that's when I cut it. And that's pretty much across the board on every technique. But great question.
Yeah, and great question, Howie. Always great to have you with us. The high vis, like Cortland line, is amazing at their line colors because their process, it doesn't bleed. The color stays with the line, and you can see a lot of other lines don't necessarily have that. That line will peel off. You'll see it gray out, but the Cortland's really got a great process. Do you always use high vis, or are there times when you use the moss green or low vis braided line?
That's a great question. So like on my bait casters when I'm frogging and flipping, I like to have a low vis green. I like to have, a moss green color. To me, that's just perfect. Just keeps it natural.
Right.
I'm not really paying attention to the line as much as I'm paying attention to the bait and the lure. So it's not an indicator for me. If I'm out here finesse fishing, stuff like that, I like to see my line, I like to see it at a distance. I like when I make a long cast. And so therefore you have a fluorocarbon leader, it's invisible at that point. I just like the visibility of it for that purpose. Not saying you couldn't do it on a bait caster or do it with frogs. We've played around with some of the colors like the pink and stuff, and I caught some fish on a frog, but I'm still taking a Sharpie to about, 3 foot in front of that frog. And it's really probably just mental because I'm tying direct to the bait with the braid at that point. So
Right.
I just keep it as natural green as possible. And like you said, the dyes don't bleed. It stays true to its color. I know we're doing a lot of promotion here with Cortland, but they're a true American company, guys. They've been around since, I believe, like 1912. And back in the day, like in World War II, they actually put all their efforts into to our soldiers. They did like all the paracords, candle wicks, shoelaces for our soldiers. So it's really cool, the heritage of the company, and they're right there in Syracuse, New York, and great people, great family environment. And a bulk spool that I use, they do it in a process that takes close to 4 weeks to make one spool. They're not doing it super fast. They're doing it very precise. It takes about 4 weeks to make a 1,500-yard spool, and there's no hiccups in it. If one of the materials runs out, they completely cut the end. They don't try to splice and continue. They do not do it fast where they heat treat it, because that'll damage the materials. So it's really the cleanest, smoothest braid I've ever used.
It is great line, and they do an amazing job. Both you and I have been to the factory to watch them do this work, and it is really awesome. Like when you talked about the splicing component of it, if you've ever seen braided line being constructed, and you can actually see it being woven on the Cortland line commercial that we just played, you can see the spindles. And what'll happen is one spindle will run out as they're weaving the braid, and they won't splice it. And that can be done. You can splice it right there, and you can continue wrapping. It's probably a more cost-effective way to do things, but not at Cortland. They're not going to put that imperfection in anything that they're releasing. So you can bet that's what you're getting. You're getting that high quality when you get it in the box.
You'd be surprised how many companies do splice, and you would never know it as a consumer. You would never know it until it fails. So you don't have to worry about that with Cortland.
I know with all the double-digit fish that I catch, I can't afford to have a splice in my line.
Dude.
I gotta be sure.
I got a fun fact on the social message board from Tracy Norway Lions. Fun fact: Mickey Mantle used Cortland line.
Really?
Yeah. How cool is that?
She said, yeah.
Was he a fly fisherman?
I'm sure he was a fly fisherman.
Yeah.
Must have been a fisherman of some sort. Maybe back then, maybe he was using for shoelaces out there on the diamond. I don't know.
Right?
Dropping bombs using 50-pound Cortland line as a shoelaces.
Yeah. Or maybe he was just jumping out of airplanes with a parachute.
Yeah. Flying right into the stadium.
That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, right to the stadium.
Well, they're known for their fly fishing line. That's the name you guys, I'm sure, have heard of that. And they make the premium fishing line and have for 100 years. A lot of you guys are getting introduced to them because of their awesome braided line. But what question do you have, Josh?
Brian Hayes wants to know, how do you prevent braid from digging into your spool with such low pound test?
Interesting question.
Always add backing to it. And I don't like to use more than I need as far as the braid. So, on a spinning reel like this, I'll probably have about 100 yards of the braid. When you're talking this thin, you need quite a bit of backing. This is a Dreadnought 3000. It's a pretty big spool on a pretty big spinning reel. And so I actually have 12-pound mono backing. So it's pretty thick, and it just absorbs that. So it doesn't want to sink into itself. You do not have an issue with it. And then on a bait caster, even when I'm frogging, I still leave a little bit of mono as backing, just a couple of wraps around, and that helps when you set the hook on a frog or something like that from sinking into itself. Now, naturally, it will happen if you're locked down drag and you got an 8-pounder hitting your frog and you set the hook, or even a 4-pounder will do it. It'll still want to sink in a little bit, but usually a good cast later, it'll pop out, so you're back to normal, and you won't have to worry about the line breaking. That's the other thing about the Cortland. So the 50-pound. So, I've used braids where I get a blow up 5 feet from the boat, 6 feet from the boat, and I set the hook and it breaks, and I can break 65, no problem if it's not, it's not Cortland. So I've done it, and I've yet to do it with Cortland. It's that strong of a braid, so it has that impact strength where some braids, if you push it together, you see that loosen up a little bit, and then that's what happens on a short impact hook set. It'll pull real tight and it'll cut itself. You're not gonna have that issue with Cortland.
Well, it's great question. And let me ask you this: you're on your leader material most of the time. I'm assuming you're using fluorocarbon and 12. Like, what are the different leader pound tests that you'll use when you're on the different techniques, like from drop shot to whatever you're using right now?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll drop shot and I go anywhere from 5 pound, just depending on where I'm at. But 5 pound all the way to 10 pound. I don't like going much heavier than that because it actually impedes with the action of the drop shot bait itself once you get to heavier leader. Mm-hmm. Unless you're fishing in some heavy cover and stuff like that, you're not really worried about it and using a bigger worm. You might get away with some 12 or even 15, but I consider that more flip shot and power shot and stuff like that. And then, as far as throwing a ball headed swim bait, I like 8 pound. I like going straight 8 pound on it. And I'm using that 8 pound, the 8 pound Cortland almost exclusively now. Sometimes I'll go to the 10 if I get down to Florida and I'm in the reeds or something like that. That 10 is really strong. I wanted your opinion on that because I know you like a little bit heavier. I've just gotten to that really finessey program of the lighter stuff, just getting the distance, and I just love the feel of it, and I haven't had any breakage issues.
Well, the 10 pound is where I've kind of, that's where I started using braided line on my spinning rods. I was like 10 pounds seems to be the best cast, the marriage of good castability and good strength. You're influencing me to drop down to the 8, which I'm going to start doing. I want to try that. I want to feel that. I especially love what you just said about current, because we're going to be back at Thousand Islands this year.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're at 30 feet of water with that massive flow, you get that, that bow in your line. Having 8 pound with 2 pound test diameter, being able to cut, give you more direct feel, either being able to get your baits through the habitat, being able to feel strikes better, being able to get a better, quicker hook set without so much drag on the line. I'm very excited about getting involved with that this year. But what I fish around a lot is garbage with spinning rods. Like most people might go to a bait caster to do some of the things that I like to do with the spinning rod. So when I'm fishing around barnacles, zebras, heavy wood, throwing a stick bait most of the time, or a heavy drop shot in those situations, I've gone up to the 15 pound Cortland, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It gives me that extra confidence when I've got a big fish in that gnarly mess, to be able to have the power to move that fish when I need to, and additional abrasion resistance, and its castability just freaks me out compared to some other 15 pound tests that I've used. Like you can't even cast 20 yards. You got to push it so hard. But the tight woven Cortland just makes it slip out of that rod so nicely. So the 15 pound casts like a dream. I can skip. I move my leaders up to like I'll go up to 14 and 16 pound test leaders. So I'm beefed up for a fight, and I'm impressed. I'm so impressed with that. It just gives you a lot of extra strength. So I'm going to try to influence you to get some 15 on when you're in that situation. I'm definitely going to try out your 8 strategy in a lot of places this
year. Give it a try for sure. For sure. I could see, like, especially when you're throwing like a weightless, like floating worm scenario, that heavier gauge, even like a soft, like a jerk bait, would be good too with that 15 for sure.
Exactly.
Now, would you go direct with that, or would you put a leader on it?
I go with a leader. I usually, like I said, I'll go 12 to 16 pound test leaders on that, I'm just beefing the whole system up, but yet I'm still finesse fishing, so it, like down in Florida, although I haven't fished there much lately, but I would use that around the reed heads, stuff that's like the alligator grass, stuff that you're going to be in for a tough trouble. Yeah. So it really is. But what makes it so exceptional is the castability of that Cortland 15. It just other lines, you just don't have that versatility. So I'm really impressed with that component of it. So that's what we got so for spinning rods, I think we both are similar in that I use the high vis. I love the strike detection component of it. I can see the line where it lays, if whether the bait's on the bottom or not, I can see all that stuff. So we're similar in that regard. Let's move over to bait casting. We talked about it a little bit. Like let's dive into the frog end of the game, and you touched on it. I mean, you're famous for being one of the best frog anglers in the world. Ish says he's better, but I don't know. What do you say?
I don't go there with that. I love throwing a frog. That's all I'm going to say. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Ish is a good dude. He's a great frog fisherman. And we actually fished a tournament years ago together. And I'll be honest with you, he was a better frog fisherman at one point for sure, because he did it more than me back in the 90s. But now, no, I'm not going there.
No, well, anyway, let me.
Ish is awesome. But
let me give you this compliment. Because you and I we had a treat. We got to go to Mexico and fish, and I got to watch you fish a frog, and I was amazed that you were able to trigger bites that I couldn't trigger near as many as you could. You have a knack for that technique. There's no doubt. It was, guys, check it out. It's one of many Fred Roumbanis instructional pieces available over on Bass University. So you guys can go check that out and watch Fred put the beat down on me with a frog.
Awesome. We got to go do that again. That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm in for that one.
Yes, that'll be a good time.
That was good, except for I'm still a little scared about the trip back and forth from the lake to the airport.
That was a little sketchy.
We drove through some neighborhoods. You know what?
Those big tall margaritas made it worth it when we got there.
Yeah. Yes, it was an awesome experience. So let's talk about I heard you say 50. I heard your color, you're using moss green, you're coloring the line the last 3 feet with the magic marker.
That's if I'm using like the bright pinks and the prototypes I've been messing around with. If I'm going to use a bright color, which is great. I mean, it's fun, but I do bait casters. I really feel like the moss green is all you really need. And what's funny is like a lot of times I'll throw a frog, 65 pound, braid, but man, with the Cortland, I get away with 50. I get away with a lighter braid. I make longer casts. It doesn't break. And here's a neat thing about it too. When you work a frog, different braids will give you different actions with the frog. Some kind of hold, and I call it water weight. You feel the weight of the line when you're fishing and not the action of the bait. So with this, you're actually feeling the frog. You're getting it to walk. You're getting it to do what it needs to do to trigger those bites because you're getting direct contact to it. It just floats up real nice over the water. It doesn't hold on to that extra moisture.
I remember hearing you talk about that a lot. And so you're throwing 50 exclusively with a frog. Is there any situation where you'll go up if the habitat is different, or do you ever switch it around?
I'll be honest with you, if I fish where it's like matted straw grass, stuff like that at Rayburn, I'll probably go to 65. I'll beef it up a little bit, but a lot of it is how far am I making that cast? Am I really trying to make the frog walk, or am I trying to, trigger them just on a pop and go situation? If you want to make a frog walk and dance and do cool things, go with the 50.
Interesting. And are you a popping frog guy, or are you a pointy nose walking the frog kind of guy?
So, I actually have a boom boom frog. You guys know I have my own signature frog. So I've got a popping version and I've got a regular. My popping version is actually a more subtle, like high pressured, the fishing, not high pressure weather, but high pressure fishing situation. It's a more finessey frog. It's not really one that you're just going to go bloop, bloop, bloop. It's more of a spit, like a pencil popper mouth. But here's the thing about it. It does catch, like if you're going to fish around cover and lily pads, stuff like that, the way the lip's designed, it will want to catch that pad. So for the most part, I throw my pointy nose, original boom boom frog. It makes a huge amount of commotion when you walk it. You can snap it, and it just really triggers big bites. So it's hard for me to put that frog down. Again, if there's a lot of people fishing that area, I'll put on that little popping one, get a little sneaky with it. But yeah,
I got you. So 50 pounds, sometimes up. Like the other one that always gets me is that and I mentioned it before, is that alligator grass. That alligator vines that you get down on Toho, or some of them Florida lakes. That is the toughest stuff on the planet. You can't get anything through that.
No, we've actually got a little bit on Darnell. We've got that viney stuff around the water willow where it just gets so tangled. It may just be water willow that's just old and twisted, but it's I think it's that gator. It's very similar to that stuff we got in Florida, if it's not the same stuff. And
it's hard
punching stuff like that. I'll go with a little heavier line when I'm punching through that stuff for sure.
Yep. Yeah, that's the worst stuff. You ever fished around that, Rich?
I haven't. I have not fished around the gator grass.
It's like the highest loss, like strike to catch, or lowest strike to catch of any grass on the planet. I mean, I don't know what it is. You get a fish in there, you always got to go get them. And
if you can get to them, if you make a long pitch, you're like, how? It's impossible.
It's impossible. That stuff is nuts, man. It'll make you crazy.
I got a question for you, Fred, on the frogging deal. I don't want to get too far away from the line, but what gear ratio reel are you using?
It's funny because I actually just talked about this the other day with Jacob Wheeler. A lot of guys, we just kind of like go over things together. It's fun to hear other people's opinions and what they do. I personally will change it up. I like an 8-1, I like a 7, and I like a 6. And the reason being is when I'm bringing that frog in, what am I trying to accomplish? Am I trying to make that frog dance in place? Am I trying to make it move forward? Am I wanting to get back if the water drops, or whatever, or if I get a blow up and I want to be able to get a quick, fire back on that fish. So in a situation where the fish are coming up and smoking it real fast and furious, I want to be able to wind in real quick and get back over there. So an 8 is probably the best scenario. If I just standard, 70% of the time, it's probably just 7-to-1 ratio reel.
7.
I will go to a 6.5 if I'm fishing a high tide scenario where the water just starts dropping on tidal systems, where I want to work behind the weed line between the hard bank, just to make that frog walk in place instead of moving it forward. Because I'm still doing the same action, whether I'm using 8, 7, or 6 to 1 ratio. It's how much line am I bringing that frog in? Am I wanting to move it in a very short amount of space, or am I wanting to, so a 6.5, like Rayburn, for instance, I got on a really good frog. Last time we had a tournament where I could actually throw a frog there. It was crucial I had a 6.5 because I could keep that frog where it needed to be.
How much emphasis do you put on the difference? Okay, when you have an 8 and you say you have a 5-pounder that's balled up in 40 pounds of grass, like we get on the Chesapeake,
you lose the little power.
it's freaking hard to wind them in. And like I find myself sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm freaking tired from that. Like, do you consider going down to like the 6-4-1 gear ratio if like you know that you're gonna
get more power?
Yeah, dealing with fish
For
that
sure.
you got to bring in and through all that nasty stuff.
A 7 will. That's why I think a 7 will pretty much get that done across the board. But I do feel that difference in 8. And for someone that may not know what we're talking about, just take a deep dive in crankbait and try it on every reel, and feel the pull and the resistance, and that will tell you exactly what we're talking about. How the gear on a faster retrieve reel loses power dramatically. So
and sometimes just getting off that pressure for just a split second, that fish can be gone. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like it's hard to turn the handle sometimes when they're really balled up in that stuff.
I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, obviously I lock down the drag, and I use, make sure I got the right rod for the situation. And, with the Cortland Master Braid, there's no forgiveness there as far as stretch or anything. So it just comes down to like I said, your retrieve.
Well, we know you're one of the greatest frog fishermen in the world. You're also amazing at flipping. You're a shallow water guy. Let's go down that road. When you're flipping and now you could talk about flipping in wood, flipping in grass, I guess hard cover and soft cover. What are your line choices? Do you ever go fluorocarbon direct? Are you using braid with leaders? What are your flipping setups?
That's a great question. If I can get away with doing braid to fluoro leader, if it's a contact situation on a bait caster, I feel like the braid to fluorocarbon leader is an excellent way to go. You definitely want to make sure you're using rods with guides that can handle that. You want a little wider guide on your rod to do that, because you're going to be reeling that knot through your rod a few times. So there's that little hesitation. You just want to be fluid with whatever you're doing. So I tend to go direct braid, or I tend to go direct fluorocarbon. But there are times where I just feel like you need that fluorocarbon leader to get bit. The water's real clean. But I will tell you this, Cortland does also have a braid for when you're punching mats, and it's vegetation only. I'm not talking about wood or rocks, vegetation. It's called Silent Flip. It's really soft and really quiet. When you flip it in that grass, it doesn't make that whizzing sound that, as it's going in. It's just silent. That's why they call it Silent Flip. And I feel like it could trigger, if you got a bunch of people punching around you, try that. You'll get more. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a tricky deal. And you can get away with a little heavier. You can get away with 65 if you thought you were, using a 50, because I feel like it's a little thinner diameter, but it's real quiet, and it's slick. It slides right in those mats. But you don't want to put it around rocks. It's got a little extra strands in it. So, I mean, it's got its purpose for sure. And I use it pretty much when I'm in Florida.
Yep.
Like that.
Well, that's a slick little line. It's called Silent Flip, guys. You can check it out. There's really nothing else out there like it. So go check it out, especially if you're a grass guy. I know, there's times when I'll use Master Braid as the main line, and a lot of times I really like fluorocarbon direct, just because it's just comfortable in my hand, and if the habitat's not that complex, that's when I'll usually do that, or clear water situations. But then I'll go to a 50-pound Master Braid with a leader. If I'm in deeper water, if I need to hit the fish fast and get them up and out of there, I like to use that combination a lot. A lot of times, here's one of the things that I like to do is when I'm fishing around zebra mussels, which are a colossal headache. I'll use like a 30-pound leader, a fluoro leader. I'll go real heavy on the leader, and a 50-pound, Master Braid main line, and that helps me get those bites in. It's amazing the difference when you get around barnacles and zebras. The difference between 20 and 30-pound test is everything. Like 20-pound fluoro will cut like butter, and 30-pound will hold up, But you can't spool, or I don't like to spool 30-pound fluoro direct. That it gets kind of wiry and a little difficult to deal with. But but that's, there's a lot of different flipping applications that, that you can go into, but I switch it up a little bit. Here's something else that I do differently. You use a longer leader. I tie a short leader when I'm flipping.
Well, no, I'm only talking about spinning rods when I was talking about that, going around the spool. When I'm flipping, it's about 3 to 4 foot.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't like much when I'm flipping on baitcaster. Sorry, I may not have clarified that. When I'm spinning, I'm with you on that 100%. But I am also learning. I like this 30 pound. I'm gonna get some 30 pound. I don't even own 30 pound fluorocarbon. So
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
You get around that sharp stuff, man. It'll save the day. But because I like the shorter leader to keep it out of my rod eyes, so I can flip and pitch without ever having to get that knot up into the rod, which makes for a smooth application. But what do you got, Josh?
Howie wants to know, Frank, did you say that you like using the normal guides on your rods, or do you use micro guides?
I prefer normal guides. I really do. I prefer. Yeah, I like my, because I do a lot of the knots, so I want to make sure they can shoot through the guides. So I know micro guides have their time and place, especially if you're going straight fluoro. They just kind of keep things tighter. But I've gotten to the point where I really like the larger guides.
Yeah, I do too. Unless I'm doing braid direct or fluoro direct, anytime you're using a leader material, you need those larger guides.
So
Right.
William Shelby wants to know, though, do you use iRod rods? If so, what kind of knot do you tie to go through those micro guides?
Yeah, so I actually did design some rods with iRod, great company, but we did I tried to do a braid to fluoro with them years ago. We never did it was almost too new of a concept when I was with them. So you just don't want to have a leader long enough to go through. Now the spinning rods you can for sure. Their spinning rods are perfect for it. But as far as the bait casters, you just want to make sure, like Pete said, a 3 foot leader, 3.5 foot, just so you don't ever reel it into your top guide. And here's another thing we did not discuss: which braid for a swim jig, which braid for like a walking spook bait, a topwater bait. I like to go 30 and 40. I like 40 for my swim jigs, direct to the swim jig, and I like a 30 when I'm throwing topwater. Just I like to make long casts. But what I'll do is I'll put a very, very short fluorocarbon leader, just so the treble hooks don't twist into it. So I'll put almost about a foot of fluorocarbon, and it'll be 20 pound. It will not sink or hamper the action at 1 foot. Once you get past that, you start losing a little bit of that, that wants to dip that nose down a little bit. So then it might.
Why not mono? Why not mono for that?
You could. I don't see why not. I just take my fluorocarbon because that's what I got with me most of the time. So
gotcha.
Yeah, you probably could do the mono because mono is very porous. It does float really well. So you could do that as well. Just I just like the fluorocarbon.
So as long as you keep that fluorocarbon leader short, it
short. Yeah.
Sink. Okay.
Yep. It will not mess up a bait if you have a very short leader, but it'll keep you from. You have that rod dangling off the side. You see one bust in front of you. You can grab it and throw it, and not worry about the hooks getting caught into the braid, because that will happen with treble hooks.
Oh, it makes you nuts. And it'll happen just like you said, exactly when you don't want it to happen, when the fish are busting or something.
Right, exactly, and especially after an energy drink.
Yeah, I use that too. And do you ever go mono direct for topwaters, or are you braid with a leader exclusively?
Like a popper. I've always liked just a regular, a popper, like that style bait. I like just going straight mono. I've always been a 12-pound mono guy with a popper. You can go, just because it's soft, it's just, it casts nice. It allows you to make, work the bait nice, and it floats good. I've always had good success that way. My first tournament I ever won was at Berryessa as a kid, and it was on a Rico, and I did it with 12-pound mono. So it's hard.
What about around grass? Would you be hesitant to throw straight mono fishing around grass, throwing a Rico?
Yeah, that's a good question. I still do it, but you do lose some. I mean, the braid does cut through the grass pretty nice.
Right, like that 30-pound braid.
Probably ought to consider that if I use a larger topwater like that. like an I'm a skimmer or something like that, I would definitely do the braided fluoro.
It's interesting. I share that with you. I on the little chuggers, the little popper style baits. I use mono, direct, and I've tried to use braid, and I've had a lot of failures with it. Like a lot of guys are saying that the braid, their strike to catch goes up, but man, like I've had some miserable smallmouth days where these smallmouth are crashing a big walking bait, and you're hitting them with braid, you're getting directly connected, but I lose a lot of fish that way. So I lean towards on Topwater. I lean towards mono on most of the situations.
For
But
the treble hook baits.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys are man, braid is the way they're going. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And the thing I say about braid is, I mean, it lasts for so long too, right? So you don't have to change up. You can buy your spool of whatever you like and keep that as your leader and make it last a long time, especially with the economy the way it is. So, I mean, it's just expensive,
It's great. That's a great point. I just rigged a kid's tackle box, or I helped his dad put a tackle box together for a kid, and I had to, I'm getting him braid a line. It's on the higher price side of things, and it's kind of shocking. But that one spool of master braid will that'll get you through all summer.
Oh yeah,
and you can just retie leaders
because Bash U members get 25% off Cortland line.
There you go. There you go. What a
great deal.
Yep. Get over to bashu.tv. Check it out. It's on the pro member benefits section, guys. If you haven't gone over there, get over there. We've got so much great stuff. It's a great time. You're buying gifts. There's all kinds of discounts on a lot of great stuff over there. And AquaView's having a big thing at Tackle Direct right now too. So if you've always wanted to get that underwater camera, which you really need to get, it's going to help you understand a lot about what's going on down under. You can get a great deal on AquaView right now. Tackle Direct makes an amazing gift for an angler. But
we got a question from our very own man behind the curtains, Jeff Olson. By the way, Freddie, Jeff says hey to you.
What's going on, Jeff?
He wants to know if you have some tips on rigging and the retrieve of your 4-inch swim bait.
Okay, that's a loaded question. Are we talking about the weedless, or are we talking about the line through?
We're doing it, man. I don't have those details.
We're gonna talk about the weedless right now. So the weedless, it's a 4.5-inch swim bait. It's a belly hooked design. You can rig it on a jig head if you want to fish it deeper. And I've shown little tricks on that, but for the most part, it's a belly. I belly hook it. I fish it in 4 foot of water or less for the most part. Sometimes I'll get 6 to 8 foot, depending on where I'm fishing. I might stick a nail weight in the nose of it to keep it down a little bit. That's one thing that I probably never really told many people about. But belly weighting, I'm using the Hayabusa 7/0 958 is actually the belly weighted hook I love for it. Owner makes a great one too as well. Gamakatsu's got a great one. They all have their what you like. I will say that the Owner spring is what I use on all of them. I swap out those little light wire springs that Hayabusa has to an Owner center pin large. And the large will make your swim bait last a bunch, which doesn't help me much when I'm telling you this, because I get less fish this way, but it's going to help you save your bait. I've fished the same swim bait all day long and caught 20 fish. So when you have that Owner center pin on this 7/0 Hayabusa belly weight, I'll use either a 3/16 ounce belly weight or a 1/4 ounce. I'll run it straight on fluorocarbon, 17 to 20 pound. I will run it straight there. I'm going to start playing with using trying it with the braid, maybe go down to a 30 pound, just so I can get it down, cut through the water column down deeper. Because that's really a realm with the weedless swim bait that I haven't exposed. I haven't had, time to really just learn how to keep that thing down on the bottom in that 8 to 12 foot. So I know guys in California are starting to get the heavier Gamakatsu belly weights. They got them all the way to a 1/2 ounce. That'll fit on it, and you can slow roll it down there like a Clear Lake and stuff like that and catch a lot of big fish. So for me, the most part, it's that shallower water stuff. but I'm gonna play with that a little bit. So definitely change out that little spring though. You'll find that's a huge factor.
Jeff has fallen in love with your swim bait, so he's living down there on Lake Hartwell. But
sweet.
Great question. Well, let's when you're there, those are the three things that we didn't those three bait categories, and are you and those are spinnerbait, chatterbait, and swim baits. What lines are you using for those three categories?
You know, spinnerbait, it's funny because a spinnerbait, I kind of still like going old school mono with a spinnerbait. I really do.
Really?
Yeah. It's just, you know, with a spinnerbait, you can pull it out of a fish's face pretty quick. But I still like to have a little bit stiffer rod with, you know, fast action with it. So it's a good balance. It's got stretch, right? It's got a little bit of stretch. So you're not pulling it away. So I like a 15-pound or copolymer. You know, that's been always really good. I still have a bunch of P-line 15-pound copolymers. So that's been a really good line for me over the years with a spinnerbait. I've had a lot of success. I've caught 8, 9, 10 pounders on the Delta with it. It's hard for me to change up. Now you can still throw fluorocarbon, maybe get away with a little softer rod because there's less stretch in it. But as far as chatterbait, I like fluorocarbon. I like actually there's a, you know, and I can just kind of tell you what I use because I don't really have a fluorocarbon sponsor or anything like that. So fluorocarbon, I'll either use like 15-pound. You know, if I go to the store, this is what's available. If they've got 14-pound Gamma, that's my favorite chatterbait line. 14-pound Gamma, if you can find it.
Wow.
I know, right? A little bit lighter, but that 14-pound is like 16 Sunline.
Exactly.
So it's all about the way it feels. And then 15-pound like Seagar InvisX is great for a chatterbait. Now I will go 17, 20 if it's, you know, if I'm bulking up and going through some, you know, some Okeechobee bass or something like that. But if I can get away with a little bit lighter line, I always do.
What about?
I haven't really played with. What's that?
What about swim baits?
Yeah, swim baits. Like I said, I like 15 to 20 pound. I mean, just straight fluorocarbon on swim baits. Yep. If it's a contact bait to the bottom, like I said, then it would be something I would do braid to floor or something like that. But when you're talking about just straight retrieve, it's usually typically, you know, we're not talking topwater. We're just talking about that class of baits. I do like a mono versus, you know, or fluorocarbon. Mostly a fluorocarbon.
I remember when I first learned chatterbait fishing, we were all throwing it on braid direct. You know, that's kind of how everybody was throwing it. And, you know, we figured out that, you know, we need that fluorocarbon in a lot of situations. The fish get line shy. But here's the deal. I have the scenario where I throw braid with the vibrating jig is when you get late in the season, when the grass gets really mature and you have to rip it too hard with fluoro. It stretches a lot. But with braid, you can just snap your wrist and clear that bait, keep it in the strike zone. So yeah, man,
That's a good point. Absolutely.
I'm using braid for that particular situation, but yeah, those other three applications are fluorocarbon applications.
You know what blew my mind? I fished in Portugal just a few weeks back. My team partner was David Fritz, crankbait legend. Do you know what he throws with his crankbaits?
Braid.
Yeah, braid.
Crazy.
20-pound braid. Real. The drag's as loose as you can imagine.
Oh my God.
It was cool to see this because I had never. It blew my mind. So, yeah, I mean, there may be braid for the purpose for everything. I'm still trying to learn all that. You know, is doing this for 20-something years, and that that opened my mind to a whole nother concept. I get it though. If you're cranking through brush piles, wouldn't you rather bend your hook open than lose that crankbait?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because for years, Fritz was teaching mono and a noodle rod for cranking. And that's how he won the classic. That's how he was AOY and all that. And we interviewed him for live, and he said that he has changed his thinking and he switched everything over to braid direct for cranking, and that was it was just shocking. But he's he feels like his strike to catch is going through the roof because of that. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to, because I'm still on all my cranking, I'm straight fluorocarbon 90% of almost all the situations. But crazy braided line for cranking. What do you got, Josh?
Dan Allen wants to know, since there's so many techniques, is there a go-to for all-purpose line?
Is there a go-to for all-purpose line?
Man, I'm not the guy to answer this, but I'll just want to throw it out there. You can use 30-pound braid for a lot of different stuff.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, it'll get you by for flipping. It'll get you by for winding baits. It'll get you by for frogging if you really have to. You got to adjust your rod, but I don't know.
But it'll last. It'll last too. You can trust it, especially if you get Cortland master braid.
Yeah. And you can throw leaders on if you need to, and make you even more versatile with something like that. But that's a great, because it gets complicated, Dan. Like, we're sitting there talking about we've got like 15 different line diameters and colors, but we're diving in deep, But I could see a guy that's going out with just a few rod and reel combos, that might want to simplify. That's a great question, Dan. What do you got, Josh?
I'm not sure if we answer this or not. But Clay wants to know, Fred, why did you make your line tie a square on your frog?
What was that?
Your line tie on your frog is a square, is the question.
Oh, there's no real reason for it. It was just how we can make that work with that. So that line tie, there's more to it than just the line tie. Honestly, it'd probably be nice if we could make it round, but this is so unique on it. It actually has a weight to it. So when you pop that frog, it counterbalances the belly weight. So we used that. So when it walks that frog and you kill it, it'll give it an extra hop, kind of like a teeter-totter. So it's got a little extra little oomph to it. So yeah, that is why it's like that. It's more the part that we're using.
Gotcha. Great question. Thanks for everybody on the IM board. Appreciate all those amazing questions. And Fred, before we let you go, what's going on, man? You're doing the MLF. They switched back to all fish counts. Where's your head at with things? What are you doing this year?
Well, first of all, obviously I love fishing, because you see me pick up a rod like here. To me, I just want to be fishing. I just want to be competing. I am in Major League Fishing. I'm fishing Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour this year. And, my eggs are in that basket right now. I mean, I'm not saying it's where I'll be forever. I'm going to fish what I can fish and compete the way I compete. I do like the all fish counts a little bit better than when we did the 5 fish for this format. I really do, because for one, I had a little bit better success the last couple of years than this last year. But I just want it to be the same. I want it to be a little bit different than what we did on our standard 5 fish weigh-ins. So I think this is a good way to go back to, for this program for next year is going to be back to what I signed up for. And I just want to fish, guys. I just want to fish. I'm not into the whole politics of which league, this and that. I want to fish, make a living, raise my kids, and let them chase the dreams they want.
That's great. Great answer. And it's cool. I like that every fish counts is what separated the tour. So it's I think it's the move to go back to that, because that's what, got them there. But how have you changed? Like, I was surprised. I'm surprised to hear you say that you did better with every fish counts than with the 5 fish. Like, like when I think of you, I think of big fish. I would think that would be better for you, but you found a way to be more successful with the every fish counts.
Yeah. I mean, I like to mix it up. I find, over the years, and it may just be, that my confidence level at certain times of day, but there's windows when they bite the swim bait. There's windows when they bite that frog. And I finally, after 20 something years of competing, realized that I need not to be doing it all day. I need to be doing it during those windows. So during those other opportunities, those other times that when the fish stop biting, when the score tracker is slowing down, that's when I could pick up the finesse rod. I could pick up that 8-pound Cortland master braid and pick them off that way too. So I feel like I've got to, I know I'm known for certain things, but I really do play the game versatile. So I like just keep catching fish.
Awesome. Well, we'll be rooting you on this year. What's up with the kids? Like, are they, you know, I know you got some competitive fishermen in the group over there.
Yeah, so Jackson, I mean, he's talking about wanting the Toyota series. He's 16. I'm like, man, okay, cool. Well, he does a lot of the youth stuff. You know, I help sponsor a youth league out here in Arkansas, Arkansas Bass Youth Hogs. He does that, and then I'm a captain. Ted actually got to be a captain this weekend for him on Lake Dardanelle. But you know, I do that, and then he's doing that, and then he's also going to try to jump into some high school stuff. He's doing that with Jack Mize, son of Aaron Mize, who owns Horizon Trike Marine, one of my sponsors, the boat dealership here in Clarksville. Oh, Ted's hooked up. You guys want to see a fish? Let's see here.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does Teddy got?
What is up with Ted? He's always hooked up.
Let's go.
What you got? What you got? What is it? Is it it's a small.
Oh, big smallmouth.
That looks
on the Alabama rig.
That is awesome.
They're schooled up right there. They're schooled up right there? Oh, cool.
Oh man, we're gonna have to. We got to. Is that the first time ever a fish was caught on live?
Second
time.
I think B Height did it too.
B Height did it.
Way to go, Ted.
That's awesome. We got to send him a swag bag from Bass U for that.
There you go.
That's really cool stuff. Well,
heck yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. Is Jackson going to think? Is he thinking about doing the boater side of Toyota?
Oh yeah, he wants to just jump straight. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm actually in his boat right now. my boat's being built. I sold my 23 to a professional baseball player, which is pretty cool. But anyway, I'm waiting on my new boat from Phoenix. It's just a few days out, so I'm fishing out of Jack's boat. We bought it's a 2016. It's you know, it's got the live scope in the front. We're just running 2 graphs on this boat, and man, it's fast. This boat's too fast. I didn't have a boat like this Phoenix. It's a 920, and it's got a 2-stroke on it, Mercury, and this sucker's like 76 miles an hour. It's almost like I probably should have got him a little bit something smaller, but we got a smoking deal on it, so it was one of those deals. So
you might need to put a restrictor plate on that outboard.
Yeah, I got to adjust this foot pedal. I've been staring at it. We've been talking, looking down there. How can we slow this puppy down for him? But no, he's quite the fisherman. I mean, you know, he had success in the kayak world a little bit, and he just loves it. I mean, every day he comes home from school, he's either we have a little lake by us that is trolling motor only, electric. I was trying to see if Mercury would help us out and get one of those new electric motors, but we'll work on that. But it's a trolling motor only. It's Huckleberry. It's about a mile from our house, and he'll go out there and just catch them, or he'll go hunting. Right now it's hunting season, so he gets home and he's just such an outdoorsman. And you know, as long as he keeps getting those straight A's, I can't argue what he does. So I'm super proud. And then my youngest son is just an athlete. He's just football player, basketball. We'll fish some tournaments together, just like Monday nighters and stuff. And he loves fishing. He's got skill in it, but his passion right now is in the athletics. So
killing it. Every time I look on Instagram, Avery's scoring another touchdown.
Oh, dude, the kid's and I mean, I know he's my kid, so I'm going to talk highly of him, but the kid's got wheels. I don't know where he must have got it from his mama. So he's fast.
Man, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. It's great to see, and appreciate you being with us. Make sure to say hi to Julie for us. And
I will.
We'll hope to. I want to invite you too. We're having a Bass U meetup in Athens, Texas. In January. Yep, we're gonna go try to catch a share lunker out of Lake Athens.
Just let me know. I'll be there.
All right,
for sure. That's not. I mean, that's a hop, skip, and a jump away. I live in Arkansas, right? That's not too far.
I know.
Austin. I get to go to Clay Guida's fight this weekend. UFC fight. You know, he loves fishing, right? Yeah. So we're going down there. That's gonna be fun. Ted and I are.
Is that in Dallas? Where is that?
It's in Austin.
It's in Austin. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna take the boat down there and fish on our way down there.
Well, we will send you an invite, man. It's great to have you with us as always. I miss you, man. It's good to see you, and we'll be rooting for you this year. Hopefully, we'll see you in Athens in just a couple of months.
Awesome. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Riz. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Yep.
Hope you all have a wonderful day. And thank you, all the Bass University fans out there, for putting up with me for the last hour.
Everybody loves Boom Boom. Have a great day, buddy. Have a great holiday. We'll see you soon.
You too.
We'll see you soon. And a lot of great details, a lot of great information about which line to pick for which particular application. I think pretty much covered everything. And make sure if you're going to try Cortland line, get over to bassu.tv and take advantage of that 25% off. You'll be glad you did. You're going to love it. It's just great line that just performs so well in so many different situations. But as well, like I said, we talked about all the different kinds of lines. We're going to, I don't know. Hopefully Justin's got a really good, question for you guys, because there was a lot that went down here. We got to try to stump Dan Allen. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're trying.
We're stomping him, making fun of me the whole show.
Speaking of, Dan Allen, Dan Allen said that there's also been other fish catches on live, and it was actually when I did it and made Dan Allen lose $10 because he bet on Justin.
What did Rich say something? I just muted his mic over here. I have no idea what he just said.
Well, that's true. We have caught a lot of fish live when we were actually trying to catch fish, so that has happened. But when our guests are live, that's rare. Who was the other one they called one?
Somebody on B Height's boat.
B Height. Okay. Yep. That's very, very cool.
Before we go to break, I do want to give a shout out to William Shelby. He said, I'll be rocking the Bass U face buff and logo on my kayak this year.
Nice.
Yes.
Thanks, William. And also another shout out to on YouTube, Wheat State Dude. He said, love my Bass University. Actually helped me win a tournament this year. Congratulations.
Excellent.
Heck yeah.
Where'd you win that tournament? Let us know. That's awesome. It's a lot of guys are using it. And we've got a great lineup of speakers. Ben Milliken comes to mind. He was a Bass University in-class student who continues to subscribe to Bass University and has used it, throughout, and now is heading to the elites. So we've seen that before. We've seen guys make it to the Classic using the program. And so many people come up to me when I'm on the road and they just, thanking me for building a program that's helped them be more consistent, get them more confidence when they're out on the water. And man, that's awesome to hear. It makes us really proud to put this program together for you guys. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to be giving away some really cool stuff right after this.
Be on the lookout for the trivia question.
Aquaview, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. Aquaview. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love catching fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick, every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water, not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, They can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Cortland Line Master Braid, America's premium super braided fishing line. Manufactured in our Cortland, New York facility and constructed from the highest quality Spectra fibers available. Cortland Line Company, made in America since 1915.
I have to have the best eyewear.
My eyes are essential to doing my job.
It's the highest quality lens that I've ever used.
Top of the line performance in these glasses.
But they're priced for absolutely everyone. The everyday angler can afford them.
As a touring professional pro, if I can depend on them, I know the weekend angler can as well. Hobie eyewear, built for the pros.
Priced for everyone.
We're back.
Welcome back to Bass University Live. I want to express some condolences in the fishing world. We lost some big personalities. We lost Big Dave Smith, who I competed against in a number of tournaments over on the old FLW tournament trail, and he's just a great man, long-time fisherman in the sport, and just one of the most likable people in the sport. Condolences to his family. And Mark Tucker, who I also battled with over on the Bassmaster side and some other places, had some great credentials, and we just saw some social media posts where he had passed. So our condolences to Mark and his family, wishing them all the best through this time. It's been a crazy year, and it continues. And we're getting ready to travel, and we're getting ready to come down and see you guys, and really looking forward to that. I hope Freddie gets to make it down to our meetup. We got to get an invitation over to him.
Good.
That would be awesome. And what's happening at Bass University? We have our releases are always coming and bringing some amazing tutorial content. And what's happening this week?
Yes, sir. So this week, our on the water release is Jonathan Van Dam, Mr. JVD, and he did an on water demonstration for us about tail race fishing. He happened to be on a Tennessee River lake, but he talks about he instructs on how to fish in the current, how to predict where the fish are going to be based on how much current's flowing out of certain turbines, and really did a nice job demonstrating in that. Caught some nice big smallmouth on a finesse swim bait. So that was a really cool one. Great seminar. And then this week, our classroom release is Mr. Jesse Wiggins. And that release is cranking all around 365 days a year. And Jesse breaks down all the columns of water that you can crank in. It's not always super shallow cranking. It's not always real deep cranking. There's this whole mid column that sometimes gets forgotten about. And that falls in that 5 to 11 foot range where, you get past your 6 foot running baits, but you're not quite up to your 10s yet. Well, Jesse breaks down how he fishes all of those columns of water and how he does it all year round to put bass in the boat. So check them out.
Yeah, very, very timely content at Bass U. And I know you guys, I think I've said it, but we have our holidays special going on right now. It's our Cyber Week. So, and with your subscription comes a $50 coupon to Tackle Direct.
Can't beat it. Yeah. Can't beat it.
It's
there's
great
only
time.
2 days left too to get your early bird discount for the tickets.
That's only 2
Nice.
days left to get your discount for your tickets. That's right. We're running out of time.
We are.
2 days. TikTok, November 30th, that discount ends. So if you're thinking about coming to class, you want to give it as a gift, The discount expires, I guess that's Thursday. Is it Thursday?
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yep, Thursday.
Thursday midnight. Go get those tickets and come on down and join us. We're going to have a blast learning from the greatest anglers on the planet. So, last chance to like and share the feed to get yourself into the contest to win some of this great stuff. What's going on in your world, Josh? What did you find?
So I know that we've talked about this like a lot, but about forward-facing sonar. But majority of the topics now are about co-anglers. And do you think that they're going to kind of steer away from that since it's a disadvantage? Because so the article I was basically reading was saying that forward-facing is coming to be more popular, and with lucrative payouts for new tournaments, there has been presented a significant challenge for co-anglers. It's time to reevaluate the role of a co-angler in a bass fishing tournament.
Oh yeah, the complications there. The co sitting in the back, guys are scoping around looking for fish, and what's going to do? We had a guy in our Texas class last year assembling a co-angler forward-facing sonar kit, which is a hand-operated transducer to the to be able to be used by the co in the back of the boat. Man, that's interesting. Is that going to? I wonder if guys have actually done that this year. I've seen them, like there's mounts even like on the driver's side. When you're idling, there's like a mount you can drop in and you can rotate your sonar unit and scan while you're driving. The co-angler, is it fair for the co-angler to be using that technology from the back and sniping fish that way or not?
I was more so thinking, do you think co-anglers are going to start not going into tournaments because they don't find that it's going to be fun anymore?
I think you're going to see that. Your co-anglers maybe not wanting to, if they know it's going to be a mega live tournament, maybe they're not going to be so inclined to participate. It's going to be hard to say. I will say this: some of the tournaments, some of the opens that I fished this year, I mean, I fished without a co. We didn't have a full field on the co side of things.
Yeah.
So I think there is a little bit of guys saying we don't want to fish that way.
Justin, what's your opinion since you've been a co-angler?
I think they're going to start disappearing, honestly, and I don't think anybody's bringing a forward-facing sonar unit in. I mean, how mad would you be, Pete, if somebody brought a freaking 12-inch screen and it's got it rigged up in the back of your boat and how's that even work? Like
I don't know how.
I feel bad bringing more than 5 rods with me. Imagine if I'm walking in a boat with a 12-inch screen under my arm. I'd probably drop that down the boat ramp too. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just go fishing. You just gotta finesse them up behind these guys. It can still be done.
I think the answer is just throw a jerkbait.
Yeah,
that's.
Yes, I mean, it can still be done.
I see a lot of guys doing it where they're. I hear guys talking about it all the time. Yeah, they're scoping up front. I just fish around the boat, and they have as much success as the guy that's scoping.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
On the same
what we're learning about the crazy smallmouth on a place like Champlain is that they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They're
all around your boat.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing with like the sight fishing when they're bed fishing, guys would get upset with that as the co. They didn't like that. But the reality of it is a lot of the co's would do extremely well just randomly casting out in open water for cruising fish and do as well as, any of the other co's that, weren't sight fishing. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of guys are going to, maybe we're seeing that already in the co side.
I think you are, but it's just one of those things.
Just do like Justin does, man. Just throw a Carolina rig out there and drag it around.
Yeah.
Do that. Get yourself in the top 10.
Or save up and buy a boat.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I've co-anglered now, so just got to hang around and go fishing, brother.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do with it. If the guy starts bringing all that sonar gear in, trying to plug into my battery system.
Crazy. I feel like that's so disrespectful. Really is.
Do you think they'll start redesigning boats to have those for both?
No way.
They already have that in the walleye world.
Yeah.
They already have it.
Yeah. I don't know.
They run them on
Technology, man.
they run both guys in the boat will be running their own forward-facing sonar on a turret.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, guys are
Interesting.
saying, the beam sometimes is scaring them away as a co-angle. That's an advantage to you, 'cause then they're coming towards you or something, or I don't know.
Why are you
Just gotta
bringing up
pick
all
and
this
choose.
controversial stuff, Jocelyn?
Well,
It's the holidays.
I typed in bass fishing news and that came up.
No, that's fine. That's cool. Well, are we ready to give away some prizes?
Yeah, so the grand prize trivia question is now in the chat, so we will see who wins that. And
Somebody
while,
distract Dan Allen quick.
Yeah, Dan Allen is now distracted, and while we're doing that, we'll do. Oh boy.
Oh,
Uh-oh. While we're doing
It's
that,
all right. They can still hear us.
Yeah, we
we
lost
have our like and share winner, Frankie Polifroni.
Hey, Frankie Provolone from
Yes,
Slay Nation.
That guy.
We hear you.
Can't say your last name. Sorry.
And guys, we need the whole kit and caboodle on this hook. He mentioned all the details. So
the hook, the model number.
The hook, the size, the model number.
Yep.
There
And while
you
we're
go.
waiting for the answer for the grand prize, we will do the sub of the week.
Sub
We
of the
got
week of the
here,
year.
Shout out Andrew Blanton from Lander University. They got a 20-pound sack here, and that one in his right hand is a 745.
Holy smokes.
It's a big one.
What did he say? What lake that is?
Oh, I forget. Why do I feel like it was on Lanier? Did they? Please hold.
We're still missing something in there. We need the hook, the model number, and the size.
We
Hook,
stumped them.
model number, size.
We
Hook, model
stumped
number,
them.
size.
It was on Greenwood Lake.
Greenwood.
Yep. Big.
It's awesome.
Congratulations, man. Well done. Keep wearing those Bash U colors, guys. Send us your pics. Where do they need to send pics?
Send them to
Send
me
them
on
anywhere.
Instagram, please.
Instagram.
Yeah.
We want to know. Come on,
DM
you
'em
guys.
to me.
You guys are fishing down in Texas. I know you guys are hunting your share lunkers this time of year. We want to see.
St. Cress.
Yeah, St. Cress. The correct answer was the Hayabusa WRM, which is the worm model, 958 and a 7/0.
Wow. Good job.
It stumped some people, so good job to.
That's
to
how
Rich
would
Man
you
on that one.
remember that? That's well done. Great question. I love it. We challenged our group a little bit, guys. Great having Fred on the show. Want to wish him best of luck this season over at the MLF. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we're going to be back next week with another episode of Bass Live. We'll keep you posted on who we're going to be talking to. I also want to give a shout out to Bass After Dark is having a show this Thursday where they're going to be taking on one of the topics that we took on is the forward-facing sonar controversy. Who's for it? Who's against it? Jocelyn just threw her hat in the ring talking about the co-angler side of things. So that's going to be a Thursday night at 9:00. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. I think on YouTube as well. And want to wish BTC and Ken Duke good luck with that show. And we will see you guys next week with another episode of Bass University Live. Have a great day, everybody.